Okay, so in this tutorial, I am going to cover a couple of very useful command line options and tools that you can use that are built into Linux. So let's get started. The first one that is that I find useful for day-to-day life is the rename tool. Like rename, there we go. So rename help. Let's see if it actually brings it up. Nope, I'm gonna kill that. Control C will kill things in Linux, by the way. So let's man rename. Rename will let you actually search through. It'll rename files given Perl regular expressions. I don't really want to cover too much of like how you use those regular expressions, but I recommend that you look those up. That's just one of those cool tools. And I think I showed it before, but say I want to rename a bunch of files, ls, and I have st7735 and I want to rename them with something cool. So we just do rename, and I don't want to actually rename these. So I'm going to do the -n to see what would happen. Let's go ahead and tell what our expression is going to be. So S for basically substitute. Then I'm going to do st. Actually, let's just go ahead and instead of having st7735, I'm just going to remove the st and replace it with Michael is awesome. And that'll be what's replaced. And then now I can just do dot to, it didn't actually show anything here. I'm supposed to do star dot star because I wanted to do like C or H files. Just makes it a little bit easier. And then it tells you what it would rename it as. st7735 would be renamed as Michael is awesome 7735.c, and so on. And then if you want to actually rename them, you just remove that n command. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and clear that. That's just one command that's cool. Suppose that I have a readme over here. Actually, yeah, suppose I have this readme. I should already have one. ls readme. No, I don't. I don't actually have a readme. What's a good short file here? ls-la. See all the files. Let's look for something that's small. Debug settings.h is tiny. So if we vim debug settings.h, we notice, oh man, that's hard. That's gonna be hard for you guys to see, but it's basically just a couple of lines like this. There's really not a lot to it. But suppose I want to see it on command line. If I type echo and then a value like echo hi, it'll just print hi. But suppose I want to, you think that echo, which would echo something out, like suppose I wrote echo debug settings.h, it'll actually just write debug settings.h. Not terribly useful there. However, if I do the cat file, which is going to concatenate, basically it's going to take line by line of the file and print it out to the current stream, which would be our standard stream, which would be our terminal. So cat debug settings.h. Now you can see that each line has been written here. So why is cat useful? There is one very nice and powerful setup in Linux, and that is called piping. So that's done with a vertical bar. So like in this case, I have cat and then debug settings.h. If I want to pipe it into something, like I can pipe it and then I can run another command, like grep, for instance. Grep will search through and try to parse for certain strings. In this case, let's parse for LED. And now it'll just take that file and then grep will look for all the parts where it's LED. And it'll tell you things. And then of course you can man grep and it'll tell you all the other cool stuff that you can do with it, or you can man cat. It'll tell you all the cool stuff that you can do with it. And then you can do other fun stuff with that. But piping doesn't just work with grep. Piping will take the line-by-line output of something and feed it into this. So suppose I have a test here. Like, let's go ahead and write some kind of cool scripts. I'm going to make a directory demo, cd to demo, and then I'm going to go ahead and gvim test.py. So I've got a Python script open over here. And let's just say for I in range 0, or in range 10. Like, it's going to basically print the first 10 numbers here. Print number. I'm going to say number instead. You can type whatever you want here. It's just going to print these values. So that's it. That's Python in a nutshell. Super easy. So now if I just do Python, I would just py Python and then test.py, it'll print those first 10 numbers, 0 through 9. Just like I expected. So what if I say cat, or instead of using cat, I now do Python test.py, and then I run this into grep. So grep, and then the number 4. It'll print that 4. Well, this is useful because now I can have another tool. Let's create another Python file over here. Let's do gvim, and then I'm gonna call it consumer.py, or myprogram.py. So let's do this over here. How do I do this? I'm trying to remember the trick to this. Import the sys library. Give me one sec. Python read from actually no, let me go ahead and load it over here so we can see how to do this. So great thing about Python is if you don't know how to do something, you Google it and you'll probably get it in the first line. So Python read from std in. Standard in is actually the like serial input, like that. Standard in would be the terminal, for instance, like if you're feeding something in or from your user. And let's wait for this thing to load. It'll just take a second. Import file. That's not the one. Sys dot this is what I want. Import sys. So suppose I have line in here. Import sys, and then I can say for line in sys.stdin. And then I can do print line. So that would be one chunk of the test. We've got this over here in our terminal. So now if I do, I can say echo, like I just want to give a set of numbers, echo 5 slash, I'll just echo 5 here, and then dump that into Python, and then myprog.py. It'll print the 5. Now, if I come over here, and let's do our Python test. We grepped for 4 before. Now let's dump this into our Python myprog.py. It'll actually print all of those values. Of course, there's extra spaces over here, and we don't want those. So gvim myprog.py. Let's come over here and let's remove those spaces. So the way that you do that in Python is pretty easy. Line equals line dot strip. So it'll get rid of that thing. And print, it'll get rid, basically strip is going to get rid of any white space before or after the line, and then it'll just print that line. So we've got that. So now if I run this, it's just going to print those numbers. But what if we want to do something a little bit cooler? Like gvim, and then I'm going to do my test.py, and then I'm going to say print 2 things. Let's print person A, common number. Actually, let's do something else. Let's create a list over here with Python. So we've got the way that you'd create a list is I'm going to say people equals and then this. So person A, comma, and then I can go ahead and just do person B, comma, trick. Yeah, so I'm going to do another little trick over here. So before I even do that, instead of calling these person A, person B, person C, I'm just going to write person for now. And that'll be our list. So over here, I just have print number, and then now I'm going to cheat. I'm going to do person, comma, and then the number, for instance. So W, just to save that, and then Python and then test.py, person, I messed up here, person, and then you can do a plus, I believe. We'll just concatenate. Can't concatenate. String str. Yeah, it's just str and then number. Concatenate those two things. So person 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 0 through 9. Basically what I wanted to do before. So let's redirect this into some temporary file. So temp file. That everything that was in this little operator is basically gonna say the output of here, this each line by line, dump into this file. So now if I cat temp file, you'll see person 0 through 9. So why is that useful? So in this, I can do wv, open up a new control wv to open up the extra split, and let's open up that file that I made, the temp file, person 0 through 9. Now I can select all of these guys, copy it, go over to here, and then paste it in. And then now, instead of doing this like I had before, let's go ahead and delete all this crap. And then just have this. So person 0 up through that. So we'll do this. Shift I, once I've selected all of that, quotes, end, go to the end, and then now I can do this. And then that's just a fast way of putting them all together and making our list. This is why Vim is awesome. So now, instead of doing person plus string number, I can actually do people of and then number. And that'll give our little list of 0 through 9 and such over there. So now if I do Python test.py, in this case, see how it's 0001 on that? Suppose I don't want that. That over here, I had the plus sign for getting that. Now, if I put a comma in, it should put a space there. Yep. So now I've got person 0 and then that test that we're running for it. So let's go back over to our myprog file. We've got our line, sys line, print line. So now if I come over here and I do Python test.py and I feed it into my Python myprog.py, you'll see that it just prints it out exactly like we expected. But what if we just want to print out this person and then have this number do something else? So I'm going to create a list up here to save that. Actually, let's print the numbers first and then let's print the person. So I'm going to create a list, an empty list. People equals brackets. Line equals this. And then let's go ahead and say we can actually do something really cool in Python, and that's called splitting and grouping. So what we have over here is I'm going to say person, comma, actually let me go ahead and put parentheses. They don't really matter, but I like doing it for safety. Person, comma, number equals line dot split. So basically that's going to split the line at this in any standard space, and it's going to put the thing on the left in person, and it's going to put the thing on the right in number. So now if I do print number here, it'll just print the number, and then I can go ahead and people.append person. And then now we can just do the same sort of thing that we had over here. And then let's go ahead and create another thing. Let's do person in people. And then print person. Okay, let's do that. Go ahead and save it, and then let's run this same thing. So now it's going to print 0 through 9 and person 0 through 9 in separate chunks. So the reason that this is useful in doing these concatenation and then piping in is suppose that you want to test your code using the LC3 simulator. So I showed you guys before, we have LC3 and we have the sim-tk. You can use this thing, which might be a nightmare sometimes to like search through. Like if you're trying to do quick tests and you just want to run something and make sure it does what you want, you can go through and breakpoint and then find the next one, keep stepping through until you get to that point. Or you can come over here and do the LC3 command line simulator, which runs it from here. And this tells you what you can do with it. So I believe question mark Yeah, just type something, and H will tell you what you can do with it. Help. You can continue the execution. You can basically run all the same tests that you have from your LC3 like graphical simulator. So what I usually do is I create a list of tests that I want, say in either Python or just a file, something that I want this to run, just a set of commands. I concatenate it in when I run the thing. So I'm going to go ahead and quit this thing. So like, say I have a file over here, gvim and then test to run. And I can just put the command in here, run one. Actually, let's see what the commands are first. Execute one step. Let's do that. Let's reset. Then on the next step, let's do step. And then let's exit and see what it does. So let's go ahead and write this command over here. So if I cat test to run, we get that. So let's cat test to run and then feed it into LC3 sim. And it'll actually output everything and then quit when it's done. So let's go one step further. Let's run our test, and like suppose right here I could actually put a file that I want to run, like my program, and then let's suppose I want to write this to results. So it'll run the test, and then now we can gvim our results. And you can see everything that it did all in one step, each thing. So you can write your test once, and if you want to actually go through and check it, all you have to do, it takes 2 seconds. It's just a nice little tip. You don't have to do that. I do it, and that's actually how we grade a lot of your assignments. And I think that's all I'm going to cover for today. So hopefully you guys have a good understanding of like why scripting languages are helpful. Like I wrote all of this in just a few seconds to do something simple, but it should be known that like when you write a script, you can write it quickly and get some rough results in a relatively short time. And then you can also use scripting and some of these Linux command line tools to automate your tasks. So piping, redirecting, and then some of the built-in commands. So you can also, I believe you can also do man. It'll tell you how to use man pages. Or, I don't know if help actually does. Yeah, help does do something. It gives you a list of some commands that are available for your current shell and things like that. So that's all I wanted to cover for today. If you guys have any questions, just let me know.